episode something? 15, 13, 14, 15, who knows? All right. Today, first of all, the Alchemy podcast is brought to you by Space 226 for all of your content creating needs. Shouts out to Drive Films as well as Alchemy podcast. Today I have a very special guest. I have my friend, award-winning actor Stephen Hill. You know him from Luke Cage, Boardwalk Empire, Law Order SVU, to now a whole bunch of other credits because his IMDb is crazy. Look him up. You don't really have to look him up because he's on Magnum P.I. He stars on there as TC. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Stephen. How you feeling?
Thank you for having me, my brother.
How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man.
Shouts out to South Jersey.
Yeah. Just got back. From South Jersey. I came back early for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Yeah. I appreciate you. So how did you get started with acting?
Wow. So when I was in college, I was doing a lot of modeling. Mm-hmm. Doing just fashion shows where we wore our own clothes. You know, it was more like a popularity contest show. You know, there was no fashion there. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then through that, I had gotten this job at a hip hop clothing store called In a Zone that a Hampton University grad had opened up, and it was like one of those stores that was like right outside the mall. Mm-hmm. All the stores are outside the mall now, right? Like everything's like outside when you go to malls. But it was like kind of like across the street outside the mall, a little spot called In a Zone. And we didn't get a lot of customers, but it was that dope hip hop time where it was like Fat Farm and Nietzsche,
555 Soul,
555 Soul, yeah. Mecca, what's some of the other brands, P&B Nation, you know what I mean? Like it was just like dope brands in there. But one of the brands was RP55. Mm-hmm. And me being in Virginia, they were actually out of Virginia Beach. And I had the guy would come in because he was out of Virginia Beach, and that was so close to Hampton, he would bring in the clothes himself. Mm. And I was just sitting in there by myself, you know, looking at Source magazines, and I was like, yo, man, you should put me in your ads, you know? And I'm like, yo, I'll do all of these fashion shows at Hampton, right? And he was just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? This dude named Ralph Reynolds. And then one day, I just so happened to be doing a fashion show for this group of girls that was starting their own like little modeling agency. Mm-hmm. So they had all these good looking people on college campus, you know, they started a modeling agency called Vierge, right? And the fashion show was for him.
Okay.
You know, and then so when I came out, we had done it like an off-site, like it wasn't on campus, it was at like some bar downtown. And when I came out, I got this like crazy crowd response. Mm-hmm. He was like, yo, they love you. And I was like, I told you, this is what I do, man. Right. So he was like, oh, okay. All right. And I didn't have headshots, none of that kind of stuff. No comp card, nothing. And I happened to have a snapshot that this girl gave me. She had taken a picture of me, and I had it with me. Uh-huh. And I gave him that. I put my number on the back.
Hustle.
And then, he was like, all right. He's got this big booming voice. I'm going to give you a call. Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then like 2 weeks later, I was like, damn, he never called me, man. And he called me. He was like, yo, you ready to shoot this weekend? Right. And I'm like, oh, word. All right. So then I immediately hang up the phone and start doing sit-ups because, you know, you just automatically feel like you're like out of shape. You know what I mean? You're ready. Yeah. And then that weekend, you know, I got $100. I got some Burger King.
Okay.
And I was in the Source magazine for a year. and then we shot
after
again.
The sit-ups right back to Burger King.
Yeah, back to we ate Burger King.
After, okay, gotcha.
That was part of my payment, you know what I mean? We went out to eat. We went to Burger King, you know. So
nice.
I didn't get paid anything for that.
Yeah.
But to be in college and be in the Source magazine and the Vibe magazine, like back when Vibe was still like the big format or whatever.
Yeah.
And be in Double XL and all these other hip hop branded
points with
magazines.
The ladies, man.
Yeah, it was points with the ladies. But it just gave me like a confidence, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I thought I was super confident but that was like validation. You know what I'm saying? I was confident during the fashion shows, but then it was just like, yo, I'm so confident that this dude wants to put me in the magazines. So I carried that with me back to New York when I graduated.
Yeah.
And but the modeling kind of switched. And, I'm a big dude, so, and I'm way bigger now, but I was still, I thought I was small back then. I was like 215
How
and
tall are you, man?
6'2".
6'2". Yeah.
I'm 265 now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was 215 at that time when I came back, and the clothing switched. Like, it wasn't hip hop, wasn't the lead thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like all of those brands had kind of like went away, and it was becoming like this other, like more like couture and like high fashion.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fit none of that shit. You know what I mean? So they were like, you need to lose like 30 pounds. I was like, yo, I'm only 215 pounds.
Yeah,
like,
that's
if I
rough.
lost 30 pounds, I'd be smaller than I was in high school. So I was just like, I don't know if this modeling thing is it. And a friend of mine who's still doing her thing to this day, she's a dancer, choreographer. She's Kendra Reeve is her name. She's now a choreographer for Cardi B.
Nice.
But at the time she was like dancing for Leah and and Puffy and all that. And she had told me, she was like, yo, you should take some acting classes. And I was like, where should I go? And she said, there's a woman, there's a woman named Susan Batson. It's called Black Nexus. And I was like, where's it at? And she was like, I don't know. Right. So I went looking for it. And at the time, Black Nexus, I think still they don't do, now it's Susan Batson Studio, but as you know, but they don't advertise, know. And back then, this was before social media was booming. But somehow I found it, took a class, and I've been doing it ever since. And my mom passed away, and when she passed away, I really took it seriously. And that was kind of like my intro to acting. Started modeling, and then ended up acting. But I gave you guys the long form story.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So you started acting, and how long was it before you started booking jobs? Like, how long was it before you really started to get consistent work?
I think for me, I think it was maybe like 6 years before I really booked something, like before I even booked something on television.
What was that first one that you were like, I made it?
Law and Order.
Law and Order.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. That was my first like speaking role on television.
Yeah.
Other than like a commercial, I had done like a commercial before that, where I had like a little line here, and but this was, my line was "No way," right? And
what was the
something
story
like that? Like, what was the line? It was supposed to be yes, no, it was yes, ma'am, to Mariska Hargitay.
Oh, yeah.
So she turns to me, she goes, something, do this, and do that, and close all the doors. Like, she, and I go, yes, ma'am, and that's it. And that was my line. But when I was there, I got more lines.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. They could just change stuff on the fly like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know. I thought it was set in stone. And so it ended up being like, Security Central, close all exits. Like, so I said the yes ma'am to her, and then I turned straight to the camera, and the director said, like, this is gonna be a close-up, right? Yeah. So I'm like, ooh, this is dope. You know what I mean? So this Chris Maloney was still on the show, and I was running around a hospital with him. I was like the security guard, and they were looking for this perpetrator. The perpetrator was actually I forget the actor's name, but he played Kevin McAllister's brother in Home Alone, the older brother that got on his nerves all the time.
Yeah.
But this was him as an adult, and he was like a rapist, and he was raping what's the girl from 8 Mile?
Brittany Murphy or somebody else?
Not Brittany Murphy. I think she passed away, right?
She was also an 8 Mile though.
Yeah, she was.
The white girl was like a little bit drugged up.
Yeah. It was it was the other one, right? Okay. I can't remember her name right now, but she was in the hospital, and the guy came to the hospital. SVU is crazy.
Yeah.
So he came to the hospital to rape her. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So we were like looking for him in the hospital.
Wow.
So I had to like close all the exits so we could like catch this guy, and that was my like first like stab at like actually getting a line on.
That's amazing.
Screen.
That's lucky as hell, because a lot of people, if they get one line, sometimes that one line will get cut, or it just becomes something else. I know from being on set, it just takes 5 seconds of somebody talking too much, or just saying the wrong thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, you know what? I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get him the fuck out of
You
here.
know, I think it's just a fear though. Like, you know, from what I gather in film and television, people don't like fear. You know, they don't want to smell your fear. So if you are confident, you know, and not necessarily cocky,
Yeah.
because they don't like that either. You got to earn the cocky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you are confident and you assert yourself in a certain way, you know, everything, like, because I've changed my lines in almost everything with like, I mean, big time directors, you know, like Steve McQueen, people like that, Cary Fukunaga. I've always had ad libs and everything. So,
yeah.
But if you confidently do it, and you just gotta be good.
Just
right?
don't
You
ask
can't-
to do it first.
Yeah, yeah, you can't.
Just
If you
do it.
ask,
Yeah.
it was once I had to ask Steve McQueen because the line was so crazy.
Yeah.
But I had done research on it. And I worked my way up to asking him that because I'd done some other things that helped him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was just like, okay, my brother, give it a shot. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool.
So Law and Order, building up credits, you get Boardwalk Empire, you get Luke Cage, you're working with more actors, getting more accolades, getting more experience, doing some theater on the side. What was that journey like from Law and Order to getting those more recurring roles, to getting, roles that you're rubbing shoulders, brushing up against people that you look up to,
Yeah, yeah.
the Jeffrey Wrights.
Yeah, he was great, man. You know, you just, you book one job, and you have to learn how to enjoy the journey as you go, right? So you book the job, and then people are like, I wonder what the next one is, right? But I would never allow myself to go like, what's my next job while I'm on a job.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because then you're not being present
Mhm.
to enjoy what you actually have on your plate.
Do you have trouble celebrating your small victories, because like so much of this industry is uncertain? Do you feel like you celebrate your small victories in a way that serves your growth?
Yeah, I mean, I've always, the fact that I've done so many short films and indie films, I celebrate that stuff. You know, I feel like what I do on those programs are just as good as, if not more. Like, I get Law and Order SVU, and I do one line, right?
Yeah.
But then I have a short film, and I'm the lead of the film. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it has just as much weight, if not more. It's just that the audience isn't as big, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't control who that audience is. But yeah, I celebrate those wins. But I got to do the work before I celebrate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people, like, when I look on, like, you look on social media, Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. People celebrate getting the booking a job.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Like, if I book a job, I'm not telling Facebook that I booked the job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I've seen it go the other way. You book the job, and then something happened, and they recast, or that character gets cut.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to put myself in a position where I got to explain to a bunch of people that don't really understand that.
Yeah. Come off as a phony. It's like, I
Yeah,
don't know if you ever even booked that job in the first place.
Because I had
The Lewis and Clark, right?
not even Lewis and Clark. I had before that, I booked American Gangster.
Oh wow.
Before it was the American Gangster, I think the first title of the movie was called True Blue.
Yeah.
And I went in with Bonnie Timmerman,
Mhm.
and she loved my audition.
Mhm.
And she was just like, the guy I auditioned for was Tango.
Oh
And
wow.
she said Tango was, you're physically too small for Tango, right? So he said in real life, this guy was like 7 feet, 300 pounds. So she said, you weren't big enough, so, but you're so good, I'm going to find something for you in this film. So I was just like, That's all I had to hear.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time I had this lady friend of mine. She she had said to me, she was like, "Yeah, let's pop some champagne. Let's celebrate."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, cool." And then the film went away. And Denzel got his money. I didn't get my money. You know what I mean? I didn't get nothing. And then it came back, and Bonnie Timmerman was no longer the casting director. So that opportunity was gone. I didn't even get an audition the second time around. Idris Elba ended up getting that role of Tango, and Russell Crowe got the other job, but it was originally Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it was Denzel. Yeah, it was Denzel. It was Denzel, Benicio del Toro, and I think Don Cheadle was in it or something like that. And then it just switched up, and it was Denzel and Russell Crowe.
I've known you for years, and I never heard that story.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And
yeah.
there's so many things that happen like that. Like, what's for me, that's one of the hardest parts about this business, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have something, and so much for people that don't know out there. Like, you audition, right? And you could think you did great. Like, I walk out the room, I killed it. You know, you never hear back, and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't kill it.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months pass by and you find out you got the job. Like for me, not getting feedback and learning how to improve, that's one of the hardest parts for me in this world, in this business. What's one of the hardest parts for you?
Oh yeah, not getting the feedback is tough. And then just being able to keep going, you know. I tell people all the time, imagine if you were you had to go and interview for a job.
Yeah.
And then you get the job, right? But the job is only a week.
Yeah.
And then you got to interview again. I'm like, that's my life.
Yeah.
You know, I have to interview for a new job every time I need a new job. You know, I don't just roll into a new job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I think is very difficult in the fact that like most people don't understand what it is that you do. So they think you're lazy.
Yeah.
They think you're sitting around not doing anything, and they don't realize that like, you know, getting out of bed is an accomplishment after you got beat up from doing 10 auditions that you get nothing from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that is probably the most difficult.
Absolutely. How do you keep your mind, because you're such a positive dude? How do you keep your mind healthy? How do you, like, what are the things that you do? Do you have a morning routine? Like, do you meditate? What do you do to just stay inspired and stay humble?
I wouldn't say I have any routine. I actually could benefit probably from having a little bit more routine.
Yeah.
But a long time ago, there was a book that I read called two books. The Celestine Prophecy.
Great book.
Right. And then there's another one called The Master Key System by Charles F. Hennell. And Celestine Prophecy basically teaches you to look out for markers along the road, like to let you know you're going in the right direction.
I believe that's by John Redfield.
Yeah,
like
yeah. And then the Master Key System is a book about manifestation, right? And so I found that like manifestation it gave me so much power because it didn't allow me to make anything an excuse, right? So it says that like, yo, whatever's happening in your life is a result of what you manifested.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, so if I didn't book that, it was because I manifested not booking that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to looking at it in a way where, you know, I'm being pushed around in the world. It's more so it helped me to look at the world as it's like Play-Doh, and I can play with what materials I get in the world. You know what I mean? Or I create my own materials.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that kept me going. And it's hard to stay in that mindset.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Every day is different.
Yeah, because you know, sometimes you just get a gut punch that just hurts. so much that you buckle and you fall over a little bit. But you just got to get up, just keep fighting.
Yeah, I want to, if you don't mind going into the Lewis and Clark story.
Oh yeah.
Because this was at a time, this was right after Christmas Wedding Baby, which was like I was just doing a film that I just wanted to grow as an actor, that I had found out was like a student film that became something so much more.
Yeah.
We sat in a room like maybe 3 feet away from Denzel Washington and got to spend the day watching this man talk, like off of a student film that got picked up by Netflix, that got picked up by BET, that all for the love. You know what I mean? Like I want to talk about
day I almost met Denzel. Right, he was just a friend of mine, Benny Ashburn. She's out in LA now too, but she knows Denzel, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna introduce you." And it was like he was at the end of his rope for the day.
Yeah,
he was like on the way out, and he was just like no more. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn, I just miss meeting Denzel.
Gotta manifest that, man.
But it's cool. It's cool. I meet him. I'm like, I don't know about meeting people anymore, because you meet people and they're like not who you think they are, and you're like, oh man, that was terrible. I was looking up to that dude. But yeah, Lewis and Clark. I booked this gig. I was fourth in that call sheet. I played the only Black person in that story. Shot in Canada, in Calgary, and it was like 3 months of shooting, and then the project abruptly came to a halt. And it was after I came to see Christmas Wedding Baby in Philly at Black Star Film Festival. Right. And I couldn't wait to get out of Canada, because it's a bit of a mind fuck when you're playing an enslaved man from that time, right? But then you're also yourself as a Black man in modern day times, and that, like, right when we were shooting that, this was roughly 4 years ago. There was a lot of stuff in the media about Black men getting shot by cops, and so it was like I was reading that every day, and then I was on this set playing a slave, right? And there were no other Black men other than my stand-in anywhere to be found on that set. It was hundreds of people, and it was just us.
When you're in a place where there's no other Black people, sometimes it just helps to see a Black person. You had something that I think you were talking about called the nod.
Yeah, the nod, man, feeds your soul. You know what I'm saying? On them days when you like, yo, it's just a nod of solidarity too. It's like, what's up, bro? I know what you're going through. All right, cool. Yeah, you good? All right, I'm good. You keep it moving.
Just acknowledgement.
Yeah, just a little acknowledgement amongst ourselves. And it's a Black man thing, especially in New York City, because the sisters won't give you the nod because they get harassed so much here.
Yeah.
But you get the nod everywhere else though, from anybody Black. It could be a sister, it could be a dude, but it's particularly more powerful when y'all are like, all right, bro, I see.
Absolutely.
I see. Me and Rob Morgan used to do that a long time ago.
Shouts out Rob Morgan.
Yeah. When I used to work at Xerox, and he worked for Bear Stearns across the street.
Oh shit.
And we were both like, I was just taking classes. I believe Rob was kind of taking classes then too. And we used to we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
And from across the street, we would throw up a power fist. Like, what up, bro? I see you over there, Black man. He was like, I see you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And still to this day, when I see Rob, he goes, Black man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that not having that was tough. And then, so I came to Philly. I had begged him. I was like, well, I got 3 days off. Let me go to Philly. please. I could really use this opportunity just to like feed my soul just for a minute. And they were like, okay. So I got there, and that was the year they started calling me Mr. Black Star, because I had Christmas Wedding Baby, and there was 2 other films. It was like Christmas Wedding Baby and maybe like 2 shorts I was in or something. I can't remember. And they were like, oh, you're in all the films, Mr. Black Star, and they called me that jokingly. But right before I left to get on the plane, I was literally boarding the plane, and I get this text that's saying they shut down production. And I was like, what? And this was before I had like, I didn't know about getting service on the actual plane. So I had to just fly back to Canada. It was like a 4-hour flight. And the whole time I'm like, what? What? Did somebody get hurt? Like, I don't understand why production got shut down. And I get there and they're like, oh yeah, we got a meeting with the director tonight and we got a meeting with the DP tomorrow. I'm like, why not together? Like, why are they not together? So it was like a scapegoat kind of thing. Like the director was blaming the DP was blaming the director.
Yeah.
And it was the same DP that same year he won an Oscar for Ex Machina.
But that was a great film.
Yeah.
Definitely a great film. And also, I don't know if you want to mention who was executive producer on this project.
Oh yeah. Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks, Ed Norton,
So for you, this was like, I'm set.
Yeah.
This is my future after struggling for like 10, 20, I don't know how many years, but like all the no's, all everything, I finally kind of made it.
Yeah.
And now is the time to start thinking about a future. And now you get this text saying, sorry.
Project shut down. Yeah. So then they were saying, oh, we're going to get a new director. We'll be back by the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So I called it bluff. I was like, well, I'm so immersed in this character that I don't want to leave. Everybody was like packing up this stuff and getting the hell out of Dodge, right? But I was just like, I don't, even though I'm alone up here, I met some cool folk that people I was just hanging out with, and I had my own place for the first time in a long time, and I had my own place and my job paid for it. So I felt really fulfilled in that way. So I didn't want to give that up, so I said, look, I'll stay. I don't want, can I stay? Can I stay? And they didn't answer. They didn't answer again, didn't answer again. And then finally, one of the producers that I didn't mention was a guy named Ezra Swerdlow, who recently passed away. And they just, like a few months ago, actually sold all of, to other productions. They sold the stockpile of like costumes and props and stuff that we had for the project, because they shoot a lot of like period stuff in that area of Canada. We actually were shooting in the same locations as that Leonardo DiCaprio film. What was the
Revenant?
Yeah, The Revenant. So a lot of the same actors were there, and so yeah, man, that was a tough one, bro. That was oof. Man, it still hurts. I had stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it felt like an important piece of art, that I was making.
Yeah.
But to have that awesome opportunity, and then I call it like Stevie Wonder's Rocket Love. Like they said, me riding on a rocket and gave me a star. Within a half a mile from heaven, you dropped me back down to this cold, cold world. So like that's what it felt like. It was like I was right there I was a half a mile from heaven.
Yeah.
And then I got dropped back down to the cold world. So but it was a lesson that I learned before that, on not getting the audition for Jackie Robinson at 42.
Because you worked on that at Nexus for years.
Yeah, I worked on playing Jackie Robinson, and I did a documentary.
Yeah.
I did a one-man show. So I felt like that was all just preparing me for this opportunity to play Jackie Robinson. And then when I didn't even get the audition, it seemed like everything was. DeWanda Wise sent me the script because her husband, Alano Miller, he got the script sent to him to play Jackie. If you know Alano Miller, you favor him way more than I do. And you neither one of y'all look like Jackie Robinson.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, if he's getting the script, I'm definitely getting an audition. You know what I mean? And I never got the audition, and that crushed me. But then
You know something? It's so funny that you say that. I remember sending an audition in for that.
Yeah.
And I don't look like him and I don't sound like him.
See,
I remember
got an audition.
I got an audition for that.
Yeah, I did not. I put together, I had a 15-page press kit that I did on my own. And this is just me on my own. I didn't have, maybe that was how it should have been done.
Yeah.
But I took that joint to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I went, she has an office right above that Jackie Robinson Museum that has not been open in 10 years, but they're saying it's coming, right on
Downtown?
Varick in Canal Street.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it to her office. I sent it to the producers. I did everything that I could, and I didn't even get an audition, and that crushed me, dude.
Yeah.
But then I realized, I said, wait a minute. Jackie Robinson had to endure all that he did. He was a real life superhero.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mad. I'm ready to quit because I don't get to portray him. I said, yo, what's my life worth? What kind of superhero am I?
Yeah.
So I said, the least I could do is just keep going forward. Yeah. So I had learned that lesson, and Lewis and Clark was the only other time where I was ready to call it quits.
How long between, what was the time span between Lewis and Clark and Magnum P.I?
Ooh, almost 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
That was, talk to me about, like, what were those 3 years like for you between Lewis and Clark and Magnum P.I?
I did my big gigs in between there was Boardwalk Empire. And for me, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And they weren't big roles, but for me they were big.
Yeah.
Boardwalk Empire was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
And then Jeffrey Wright is hands down one of my top 3 actors.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
same.
To work with him, and then to work with him for 2 weeks as opposed to working with him for a day or 2 was great, because he actually made it so that I would end up working a little longer. I don't even know if he realized it, but like, it was like toward the end of the day, we were shooting a scene, and the DP, that show was very dark, right? So, and me being dark skinned, the DP didn't feel like lighting me. So there's a scene where I'm knocking on the door, and I wanna come into the door, and the DP was like, no, you just wait outside, right? And Chalky's in there talking to daughter. And so I want to go in, and Jeffrey goes, yo, why is he not coming in here? Right? And he goes, yeah, we're just gonna leave him outside. He didn't have a real reason, but I knew it was, he probably just didn't feel like lighting me.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey was like, no, he's my bodyguard. Why wouldn't I bring him in here? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Right? So they stopped everything, and all of a sudden lights start flying in to light me. And so that actually kept me in the scene longer, which was like 3-4 more days on shooting.
Yeah. And
then they brought me in for another episode, so that was all Jeffrey Wright looking out. So that was a big moment for me. And then Luke Cage, I think, might have been the first thing I booked. I can't remember if it was the first or the second thing I booked. But then another one of my favorite actors and somewhat of a mentor of mine, Ron C. Jones, was in that scene. And I have to give a monologue, come down off of the stage.
Because he just passed away. Yeah.
And then give a hug to Ron C. Jones.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, I'm doing this monologue, and then I got to come give a hug to one of my mentors and a dude that I look up to.
Yeah.
So I was that kind of like brought me out of the trenches of not going forward with Lewis and Clark, because I kind of didn't want to be there. But this was Marvel, and I had these like grandiose ideas, like, yo, what if I get some powers or something? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, somehow, like, they give me a first and last name. Maybe they're gonna bring me back. But then they didn't bring me back. So
that happens, man.
Yeah, but it's cool. But Cheo, the showrunner of Luke Cage, loves Magnum.
Yeah.
He hits me up, and he's just like, yo, this joint is really good.
That's huge.
Yeah. So that's
huge.
That's
he was
dope.
Also at the Pan African Film Festival that year. I remember. Cheo
Nice.
Hodari Coker, is that?
Yeah. I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, man. It was a few of them. It was Ernest Dickinson,
Yeah.
Chehodari Coker, and I don't know if I'm getting the last name right. I hope I'm not fucking that up, but it was just titans in filmmaking that year. And that year, just before that, was it was difficult for me because nothing was happening aside from Christmas Wedding Baby.
Yeah.
And I go there, and for me, it just takes a little bit of inspiration just to get me to push through, man. And it's like, yeah. But you were saying that the 3 years, so we just talked about Boardwalk Empire, going into Luke Cage, and then how long after Luke Cage did you get Magnum?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Oh, in between the Luke Cage and Magnum, there was some dry spells there,
Yeah.
you know. But for me, dry spells never feel like dry spells because I always do short films.
Right.
I always do a short. I always do some sort of indie feature. I always do a web series. So that kind of stuff always keeps me busy. So I feel like I'm working. You know, I just recently ran into Eric Myers and a friend of mine that we did a web series called 12 Steps to Recovery together.
Yeah. Shouts out to Tony Clomax.
Yeah, Tony Clomax joint. Yeah. So I ran into her and she was just like, "Oh, I haven't worked in like 2 years." And she was like, "Ever since I joined SAG." And I was like, "Uh-oh, wait a minute. Are you one of those that's afraid to do a short because it's non-SAG?" And she was like, "Yeah, you can't do it anymore." And I was like, I wish SAG would just change that rule because so many actors get caught up behind that and then they don't do anything because then they don't do the non-SAG indie.
Those award-winning non-SAG, giving you the lead role, giving you an opportunity to really flex your muscles a little bit,
you feel like you deserve to be here. But for me, I never shied away from doing those because I'm like, SAG ain't coming looking for me, you know. And now I know it's true. SAG is coming to look for me now.
And now they are.
SAG wants the money that I make now.
Now that they just heard you say that, you better watch out, man.
Yeah, whatever. They're good. They would rather have the money than penalize me for doing an indie short film that nobody's ever gonna make money on, you know. So I told her to get her ass back out there and start doing them shorts.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what kept me afloat. But there were some times, man, because I was working at Carmine's, and I had an I won't say names, but I had an agent that she tried. She couldn't get me indoors. She couldn't get me in. I know she was trying, and I was extremely loyal. I was like on some, I had this idea that I was going to create this Black woman dream team that was going to look out for me. And she was a Black agent, a Black woman, talent agent. And so, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep rocking with her. And I gave her like 7 years of my career. And then I was just like, yo, I'm tired of this one line here, one line there. I gotta move differently if I'm gonna do this. And I was at Carmine's, which was one of my favorite restaurants until I had to work there because it just ruins it for you because it's like, oh, I'm not eating the chicken parmesan. I'm delivering the chicken parmesan to a table and actually cutting it up and serving it to the other people and then walking away, So I was just like, damn, this ain't it. I gotta try something else. So I reached out to her and told her like, yo, I'm gonna quit. So because of me wanting to quit, I'm gonna at least try something different. And to take it back to Lewis and Clark, one, she got pissed and said, best of luck. That was it. That was the last thing I heard from her after 7 years, So I was like loyal for 7 years. And it wasn't even like a proper send off or like a thank you for the 7
Might as well
years.
have said, fuck you.
Yeah. Basically, that's basically the tone that was written in, But so, me having that old Xerox mind and still doing things in a corporate manner, I contacted Playtone, which is that's Tom Hanks' production company, right? That he has along with this other producing partner. And I reached out to them for a letter of recommendation, right? Because I'm like, y'all put in all this good work on Lewis and Clark. And I got this letter of recommendation that kind of reads like a love letter of what I did for Lewis and Clark. And that got me my manager, that letter, because I gave a terrible audition for her at Susan Batson's studio. And my manager got me my current agent. And I've been right away, I was getting auditions for, one of the first auditions I went in for was for Black Lightning. And I was like, yo, wait a minute. I was going in for guy number 25.
Yeah.
And then I switched my agent and I'm going in to play superhero.
Yeah.
And it happened so fast that I didn't even believe yet. Like, it was just like, well, something's wrong. They made a mistake. They're bringing me in for Black Lightning. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, but I'll go in, meet a new agent, and so things started to move. I'm still working at Xerox. I mean, not at Xerox, at Carmine's, but I had told myself I was only going to work there for the holiday season. And as soon as I left, I rolled right into a play at the National Black Theater.
Nice.
I did a whole lot of work for 3 weeks of work to make about $1,000. And I was the lead of this play. And then after that, I just started booking stuff. And a little stuff here, a little stuff there, and it ramped me up into, I booked a pilot called Manifest. And
ironic, man.
Yeah. Oh, you got that?
No, I didn't get that too. But I'm saying we're talking about manifestation. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
But
that is crazy. It was like, it was booking a pilot.
Yep.
During pilot season. And the name of the show is called Manifest. Right. And so I booked that and I was extremely happy. Like, yo, this is the best pilot season ever.
Yeah.
I got a possible recurring. Right. So I got this audition on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. I remember being on a Thursday morning. I got a call. And he's like, oh, we got an audition for you at CBS. And I was like, okay. And they sent me the sides. And I was like, all right, let me just go over these sides. And because the audition was at 5 o'clock or 4:30 or something like that. And I got there to the audition. I didn't have a printer to print out the sides. So I figured I'd get there a little early and I'll just get the sides there, right? But the sides weren't there. They weren't outside the room. So I was like, oh man, I'm about to look so unprofessional.
Yeah.
Looking for these sides and asking them to print them out, right? But then Don Gilroy, another actor that I kept seeing at all these auditions, he was like, oh, you don't have the sides? And I was like, nah. He was like, I got the sides. What scenes are you doing? And it was like 3 scenes. And I was like, yo, I'm doing 1 and 3. He was like, I'm doing 1 and 2. Here's 3. Right? So I started working on 3. I make my sides look like, it looks like a treasure chest map. You know what I mean? So I have all different colors of highlighters and pen and pencil sometimes, you know what I mean? So I'm like all over my sides, right? And then he comes out and he gives me the other one. And he was a guy that his sides are blank. He only highlights the actual character. Different actors work differently, right?
Yeah.
He highlights the character's name and that's it, right? So I'm like, yo. So I get these clean sides. I go in and the Magnum P.I box set just came out and my audition's on there and it was not a good audition. It was not. And by my standards, it was a terrible audition. You know what I mean? But they had saw 100 people before me. And so anyway, later on that day, I went to the gym. I was on the treadmill and I was thinking about that audition. And I said to myself, why didn't they bring me in for that?
Yeah.
And then I caught myself and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Why not me? And 30 minutes later, I got the call saying, pack your bags, you're going to Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah. So all in the same day, I didn't have 2 auditions. I didn't have a test.
Yeah.
I didn't have, any of that. I just, they wanted to get me there for the reading in Hawaii, the table read, and they couldn't book a flight that fast. So I got there for the cast dinner on Saturday night. I went to the cast dinner, had Sunday to myself to look at the script and stuff. And then on Monday, we were shooting.
Wow.
Yeah. Monday, we were shooting. And I remember being so nervous and having what they call imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like, yo,
what the fuck am I doing?
They're going to find out I don't belong here. They're going to find out I'm the guy that's only supposed to have 2 lines.
Always happens when you get that job that you really want.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, I don't know. You know what I mean? I was so scared. We were shooting this one, you know, Justin Lin, that's done a bunch of the Fast and Furious. We were shooting a scene, and I remember Peter Lenkov, our showrunner.
Yeah.
He kept saying, he was like, "This is the scene. This is the scene. This is the most important scene
No pressure.
of the whole thing."
Yeah.
He said, because the people at home, guys at home, gotta want to be able to sit down and have a beer with you guys. They want to be able to sit in the room and cool out with you guys.
Yeah.
This is the scene. This is the camaraderie. So it's me, Magnum, Rick, and Nuzo, right? Which is Dominic Lavandozzi, Jay Hernandez, and Zach Knighton. We're all in this scene. And then also Perdita Weeks, who plays Higgins, she's there. And the dogs are there. You know what I mean? Like, it's all of the Magnum. Everything is there except for the Ferrari and the helicopter. You know what I mean? So we're sitting there in the Robin's Nest, and we're having this conversation with Magnum about him in this book, Robin Masters' book, and how he's exaggerated in this book. And man, I was like, they would call cut, and I kept getting the adjustment, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And you know how when you get an adjustment and you think you adjust it, and then you get it again. And Justin Lin came and had the little conversation with me on the side 4 or 5 times.
Damn.
And I was like, yo, I'm not giving this man what he wants. Oh my God, they found out. I don't belong. You know what I mean? And then what did I say? One of the lines, I just belted it out, like, because he was just like, no, it needs to be more jovial and more this. And I was just like, what did I say? I said, but there were no planets involved. I just couldn't. It's in the trailer, and I said it in such a way, and they were like, that's it. And I had said that 100 other ways, you know, and then you know, the next day, some of my lines got cut. And I was like, yo, they didn't like what I did yesterday.
When you're on set, you're doing it like that, all they tell you is great job. Great job. Great job. And it's like 70 different types of great job.
Yeah.
There's the one where it's the genuine, hey, you fucking killed it. Great job. Then there's the one where it's like, great job.
Yeah. And you know, and you don't know sometimes, you know, Justin Lin might have wanted a homie of his in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know there was some talk that maybe, you know, they wanted Exhibit to play the role, you know, all kinds of stuff. So they had saw 100 people before me.
Shit.
So he might have been like, this is the guy you guys went and got. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Or he might have just been fine with what I was giving him. But I know the next day when I saw that those lines were cut, I was like, yo. But then I realized after I came down off of my own fear, you know, I realized, oh, the other characters' lines got cut and they had no line. So I had to give them each one of my lines. So we all had something to say.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not about you.
It had nothing to do with my performance the night before, you know?
Yeah.
But I was sweating bullets, literally sweating bullets. They like in between takes, they were like fanning me because I was so under. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, yo.
Damn, man. I wanna really congratulate you because even then, that's not the last step. You know what I mean? You got CBS up front. Then you got to find out if it gets picked up. And then even still, your role could get recast. Yeah. Because it's like, everybody's great, but Stephen Hill's a piece of shit. Let's get him out of here.
You can. That does happen. People get recast after the pilot.
Yeah.
So, you know, and sometimes other actors would say that shit to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd be like, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then somebody lightly whispers that to you, like, what? What do you mean?
All you think about.
I thought I was good.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And now you like your whole summer's ruined because you're like waiting to see if you were the guy to get recast. You
and
know
what happens the more you try not to think about something, that's all you think about, man.
Yeah. But then you get picked up and then you're out there and it's like, you don't know if we're gonna get full season.
Yeah.
You know, you get 13 episodes.
Better problems though.
Yeah.
Better
and
problems.
then okay, cool. Then you get the full season. Then you're waiting to hear if you get the second season.
And you did.
But we got that knowledge very early while we were still filming the first season. And it's not typically what happens. You know,
it's great feedback to get, man.
Yeah. So we're good, and we're going into a new time slot that's probably gonna be better for us on Fridays instead of Mondays. Hawaii 5-0 is our lead in, right? So they moved them from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We're at 9. And then ironically, we're now leading in Blue Bloods at 10.
That's
so
great,
the new Magnum is leading in the old Magnum.
Yes. Well, I want to congratulate you because I've been honored to be part of your journey, man. And if it could give me that little bit of inspiration on my difficult days to not give up, I know that stories like these can inspire young creatives and people that maybe they're not even doing creative things or they're not in the artist world of being an actor or anything. Maybe you're a young entrepreneur, but stories like these, this is the epitome of why I started the Alchemy podcast, because you took your circumstance and you stuck with it, man. And it's and you made it something even more than gold. And I just know that on your road, this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of something really great. So I want to congratulate you and I want to thank you so much for coming and making it out, because it means a lot, man.
Thank you, my brother.
So how can we keep up with you?
Stephen Hill, actor at Gmail. I could use the followers.
Follow this man. Follow this man on Instagram. Like his Facebook. You got a Facebook fan page?
Maybe everybody's looking for me with Stephen with a V. It's Stephen with a PH. STEPHEN.
There's a few different Stephen Hills out there.
ACTS. Yeah. But it's a shame, man. You know, I look and you see a scantily clad woman and she has 1 million followers. You know, and then like I literally make a television show once a week, you know, an episode of art once a week, and I have less than 10,000. You know, it's a damn shame.
People are after what they're after. Thirst traps are quite popular on
They
Instagram,
They are. So it's a lot of thirsty people out there.
That's right.
They need to drink more water.
Stephen Hill acts, Instagram, Facebook, everything, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Yes.
All right.
That's it.